was the light of a lantern. And all the rest of that big old house was pitch dark. And then they heard something they thought sounded like a drop of water. Just one drop that had seemed to have dripped from somewhere. What was that? It sounded like a drop of water. I guess it was a drop of water. He looked around, but he couldn't see anything. It was probably a leak in the roof. Maybe a drop of rain came through? Yes, but how could that be? There hasn't been any rain for a month, the other one said. Then, just as they were talking, another drop fell, and they didn't see where it hit. Then, another. And it made this sizzling sound. What makes it sound like that? The younger one wanted to know, but the older one couldn't think of what did. Then, another. And another. And another. And all at once, the old workman said, "Look here, what makes our light so red? By George, I was just noticing that our light is getting red." Then, just that second, another drop fell, and it made that sizzling sound that they had noticed once before. My goodness, look at the lantern chimney, the young one said. The drops had fallen in the hot lantern chimney. That's what was making the sound, but what was making the light red was the color of the drops that had fallen on it.
Say!
What's up?
This is just awful. I wish you'd turn up the light.
Go on, George.
Then, just as another drop fell, the two plumbers heard a louder sound. It made the flesh creep on their spines. It sounded like a strangling wail, but that's not what scared me. It was coming from the floor. The very floor that they were standing on. It was coming from right underneath their feet.
I can't stand this. Honestly, I can't.
Don't be silly, Anna. It's only a story.
I don't care. It's too awful. I wish George would stop.
And then the red drops on the lantern chimney trickled so fast that they almost got to be a little stream. So the red light got dimmer and dimmer. And then, just in the floor, they heard that long, strangling wail again. Ooh.
My goodness, what is that?
See here, who's doing that?
The wailing went on.
What is all this?
See here, who's doing that?
What's going on? I don't like this.
I'll find out who's doing that. You know, he said it sounds to me like a cat. And then he picked up his axe, he struck right into the floor. never dreamed of frightening you. I just, well, I thought I could make that story so awful that they'd get scared and go home. But I see I was doing exactly the wrong thing to make them go.
Yes, George.
And the only one I really frightened was you. Unless,
Yes, George.
well, did you pretend to be hysterical?
Yes, George.
And that's why they went. And did you want them to go?
Yes, George.
I've only, it's a pretty short time,
Yes,
Can we-
George.
Well, I have something to say. I've had it to say ever since that day you wore a blue dress,
Yes, George.
but I'm afraid you'll be surprised when I tell you what it is.
Yes, George.
I'm afraid you will. I'm afraid, I'm terribly afraid you won't like it. Of course you won't. If you don't, I'll have to deal with it, but I've hardly got time to say it.
Yes, George.
I don't know what you'll say.
Yes, George.
What's the matter with you? You just say the same thing over and over.
Yes, George.
I don't understand. I come here tonight to talk to you and to ask you if we could.
Yes, George.
I told you about my father and how he said that we're gonna have to share the business and how in June and how I feel justified, and so I want to.
Yes, George.
Anna, I want to ask you, could you?
Yes, George.
Anna,